This a war zone, homie. Say you ready and prepared. Take a minute, make them aware. Well, I'll be sneaking in the back, but it's what the clap.
The back and forth has got me so messed up. Don't ignore.
Getting stronger every day. Keep on pushing through the pain. Keep on running till we take. Ain't no mercy in this life. There's nowhere left to run away. No, there's nowhere left to run away. Run away, run away, run away, run away.
Hello, hello, hello. I've got no camera for some reason, but I just wanted to make a quick video for you guys today. It was requested that I make a video on creating a root accessory node and exporting something to the correct area. So I think I've done this before, but I'm just going to go ahead and get it all done again for you. We're going to import the cab of the project 377, or sorry, 3XX.
Getting stronger every day.
And then we will also import the setback axle chassis. And once we do this, we'll find a part that we can line up, and I can show you how to make a root node. So I've got a couple podcasts coming out. One is going to be for Patreon. One is going to be public. It will be available on the Patreon site. Both of them will. One is kind of ramblings about the community, which is a public one. And the Patreon one is about the truck and how it's going and what I'm working on and how it looks and how excited I am, etc., 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 etc. But anywho, so let's first of all do this. If you're new to Blendertools, I'm going to kind of walk you through a couple of things. SCS tools is in this list over here. If you go to the top, there's all the Blender tools here, as well as the SCS tools, which are on the bottom. This is a key thing here, this collision locator. Obviously, if you're doing collisions, this is important to have up. But if you're not, you press no faces, no wires, click, and everything is gone. So you can work on what you need to work on. And you can see everything. So let's, for example, I'm going to look through my files real quick, and I will see if there's something I can pick out quickly that we can use for this. I didn't have anything prepared because you know me. I fly by the seat of the pants. Okay, so miss. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. I made a toolbox, and we're going to put it in the place of the steps. So the rear step is over here in the chassis. So I'm going to go to steps. Oops, wrong step. Should be R step. And we want the one that's on the long chassis. So here's what we're going to do. I have R step 1, 2, and R step. Now, it shows in the parts right here, R step is listed in chassis long. R step 1 is chassis short. R step 2 is the 300. So obviously in this case, we're going to pick R step because we only have the long chassis right now. This is where we want to line things up. If you want to know exactly how it's going to sit, and in this case, we're not going to have the third axle in the way, what you can do is you can go to set back axle or whatever, truck in your case maybe. I don't want this, so I want this, right? So I don't want that third axle, so I can see exactly what's happening here. So in this case, I'm going to select the R step. I'm going to press Shift S, cursor to selected. So now we're going to import something that I was working on. Import. This is an OBJ. So we're going to go D ATS mods miscellaneous 17. So obviously that's super huge. We need to scale it down. I think it's going to be 0.01. Would help if I didn't hit caps lock. That might actually be too small. Let's do 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. Nope. It's somewhere in between. Gotta love it. 0.05, 0.05, 0.05. Maybe it is 0.1. It's only 17 inches, so.
It's summer. Everyone deserves a treat. This year, make sure your treat includes earning free money through Kasasa Checking. Your local
That still seems really small.
credit union will help you make cash back from your checking account, so you can
Maybe this isn't the best
self right. Iced coffee, summer concert, beach day.
best thing to
Open your
use.
Kasasa checking
Let's
account and
do
start treating yourself
this.
today. Sponsored by Community Credit Union.
Pretty sure
Your
this
local
one is good to go, so we'll do this one. Import.
Take the first step toward a career in hospitality with North Shore Community College's Restaurant Management Certificate Program. You'll be prepared for entry-level managerial
want this.
positions in the food service industry
Import OBJ.
and establish
That's what
a
I want.
solid foundation in business, purchasing, food safety, and more. Gain
Steps
real-world
toolbox.
experience in restaurant
There we go.
management
That looks a
through
little
the
bit better.
internship course, where you will work directly in the field. Click on the ad to learn more.
All right. So here's our toolbox. So what we want to do is we're essentially taking this we're going to place this on the truck where it goes. But first, this is where our node is. So as long as you have this, the marker called the cursor, as long as you have that cursor on where you want to put something, that's where it will show up. So if you press create and empty, that's going to create your node. So now you should see empty up here, which you do. In this case, we're going to say L toolbox, we'll say. So that's great. And then we can assign this to the toolbox. So now it's part of that node. But when you go to export it, for example, we'll go upgrade, rear step, and I press export. It says selected objects are not part of NES SCS game object. Well, what the hell does that mean? Well, it means you haven't set up a root node yet. So this is a node, but when you go to export, it's looking for specific things. And that is right here under the object tab. So it can't be none. It's going to be root. Locators are nodes inside a truck. Roots are nodes that are a root object. They are the thing that you're connecting to another node, or they are the truck itself. So if I press this, now you're going to see these huge arrows going. That's how you know that you've selected a root node. We're going to do default look, default variant, default part. All you have to do is press the plus button once on each 3 of these, and then you can put your singular part onto the truck with no issues whatsoever. Once you get into creating variants and other items, that's a different video we'll save for another day. So now, we're going to take this toolbox and we're going to move it to the location that we require. So in this case, we're going to try 0.5. Okay, it's not quite. Let's see, 0.7. Let's do negative 0.8. We're pretty close. So we're going to go... So it's just beyond the edge of the frame. We got to go back a little bit, so we'll say negative 0.8. Even negative 1. And then raise it up. This depends. You probably want to make it flush with the where the frame is. So maybe something like that. And then you want to make sure it's hooked up to the frame. So in this case, like maybe like that. So there we go. So that is what that's going to look like. Now, another trick is doing a mirror. So in case you wanted another one on the other side, you can say set origin to 3D cursor. So now the origin is the center. So if I go into here, the modifier tab, hit modifier, go to mirror, now I can make one on the other side. Press apply. Now I have 2 toolboxes. I can press B, select all the vertices, press Control L, select all vertices, P. This will separate these 2 toolboxes. So now I've got 2 toolboxes, one on each side. This is where variants come in. You can say, I want this to be driver's side and this to be passenger side. So now passenger side is going to be that one. It's selected. Assign it to passengers. Chrome number 2, standard, drivers. So those are 2 parts. Now we have 2 separate parts. One is the driver's side, one is the passenger side. Now, if I go here, if I go to here, L toolbox, you're going to see under default, drivers and passengers are both selected. If I want to create another variant, see, I'm already into another video. See what you guys are doing to me? I'm going to make 2 more variants. This one is going to be driver's side. This one is going to be passenger's side. Now, default is going to be both. Drivers is going to be drivers. Passengers is going to be passengers. You just created variants, and you've selected the variants. And I can show you how they work. If you turn both of these off, and you press default again, there they are. If you press drivers, only the driver shows up. If you press passengers, only the passenger shows up. That's how variants work in Blendertools. It's very easy to set up. You can have a ton of variants. You can have a ton of parts. All you have to do is connect all the dots down here. What do you want listed in the driver's side? What do you want listed in the passenger side? What do you want listed in both sides? Very straightforward, to be frankly honest. I have to apply a material. Default material is not going to work. So we're going to look for our new chrome. I believe I have that listed in here somewhere. Yes, I do. Looks a little bit dark, I think, but I think that's okay. So let's check our vertex paint. Make sure it is 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, and paint. Yes, it is. Okay, so that is correct. Perfect. The only thing we have to do is make sure that this has a UV map. We will shrink it, put it in the right quadrant, and then we will do this for the same over here. Shrink it, that's S, or scale rather. Move it to the top where the chrome is. There you go, you got 2 chrome toolboxes. So now we have to set this up with UV 0. Here's how to rename UVs. See how this is red? You need to make sure it's on the right UV. So you just double click, select, rename. Same with this one, double click, select what you don't want. Done. Now this should show up 0. Yes, it does. Perfect. Alright, so there's our chrome toolboxes. All we have to do is press on the root, verify that it's exporting to the correct folder, which in this case is rstep Peterbilt 377. Press the export button. Done. That is how you do that. There's nothing else to do. All you have to do is now clean the converted data, convert the project, create a def file for this to show up on these frames, and you have new toolboxes on the back of your truck. So that is how the root node system is made. You essentially, to re-demonstrate quickly, in our case where you were using the rstep value, we press Control S to allow our cursor to be selected on this node. We created a new node here. We've changed the name of it to L Toolbox for large toolbox. We went to the Object tab. We selected Root Object. We created variants, created parts, added our object, mirrored our object using the modifier tool, and then we exported it to the correct location. I hope this helps you with getting some OBJs and some parts in and creating some root nodes for your accessories on your trucks. And let me know what you think of the video. Thanks so much for watching. We will see you for the next one. Bye-bye.